to find those cheap rentals, what are you doing? Are you going on Google, typing in English homes for rent in Merida? Are you going in the Merida expats Facebook group and asking people for a home for rent in an expat neighborhood?
No, and the thing is, it's like you got to do it in Spanish, and a lot of people just don't realize that they just go and they do everything in English. I mean, I default, we all do default to English, and you're looking in English. Well, now they're catering to you, and they know that you got a few more bucks, so now they're going to increase the price. So, in order to really be able to get the local price, well, you got to search like the locals. That means in Spanish, or even walk around the neighborhoods, and like, oh, I like that place says for rent, in Spanish. Let me call that number, and so on and so forth. And a tip that I like to give people is, if you're not very fluent in Spanish, get somebody to call for you. Get somebody to help you out with those things. There are people that do these services, or you can just get a friend, and that friend can just kind of like, act as that liaison. And then by the time that you're, meeting up with the realtor or whoever's renting it out, it's too late. That's the price, so.
Yeah. So are there any websites or places you go to online to recommend to look for more affordable housing?
Yeah. So Viva Anuncios is a good spot. Inmuebles is another good spot. But another thing is also on Facebook, believe it or not. Facebook is really, really good, to find a lot of the local price, because again, you got to go in the Spanish, groups. So whatever place you're moving to, whether it's Merida, Querétaro, whatever, they have groups, and they have a lot of groups in Spanish. In fact, I found this out when I moved to Mexico, but a lot of people use Facebook. Like 75% of the population uses Facebook. And that's like, so people were always asking me, hey, do you use Craigslist? I'm like, no, they don't even know who Craig is, but everybody knows who Zuck is, right? And so everybody out there uses Facebook for everything. Even like the Craigslist aspect of it, meaning you can find a place to rent, find a place to live, find a place to work, and just so many other in betweens. So Facebook, but again, go to the Spanish, kind of like rental groups. And that's, like a really good resource. But yeah, like I was saying, Viva Anuncios, Inmuebles, I think Locando, y Casas, and there's other one called Casas Trovi. But again, just search in Spanish. And use all the technology that we have today in case you don't speak Spanish to help translate.
And something I like to do to find the really cheap rentals is to go on to Facebook Marketplace. And then on Facebook Marketplace, you just change it to the city that you're interested in. And if you're looking for a whole house, you would search Casa en Renta. If you're looking for a room in a house, like let's say you have a really small budget and you want like to live literally as cheap as you can, you might even go cuarto en renta, meaning a room for rent. So maybe you're renting a room in somebody else's house. And like, if you want your rent to be $50 a month, you can do this. You can even find it for less than $50 a month by renting a room in a house. Now, that even applies to some of the most expensive cities in Mexico. You can find a room for rent if you're going in these local Facebook groups or local Facebook marketplace. It is possible, but you, like Jose said, you must be searching in Spanish.
Yeah. And you make a great point, like to keep it under that $300 budget that you were talking about. Yeah, you're going to find a $50 room, you know what I mean? And maybe someone's house or some extra room that they have. And even in places like Mexico City, because again, I'm surprised by some of the comments I read, online or Facebook, where people are like, oh, what are you kidding me? I live in this part of Mexico City. I'm like 15 minutes away from Roma, and I pay total like $650, you know what I mean? For everything. Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And I've seen it where it's like the room is $50 a month that includes electricity, gas, water, internet, all of your services, and a place to sleep. So if you want a really low budget, that's one way to do it.